So how do you respond when someone says to you, "So, how are you?" Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And that's a question that we all get all the time. So, how are you? And most of the time the response is, fine. And you? All right? That is the typical response. You know, the reason I'm going over this is because I received a question from a gentleman named Howie Doing. Okay, Howie, let's go over your question, which is, I want to achieve greatness, but I find myself getting back on the treadmill and doing the same thing over and over and over, the same old, same old. Can you help me out? Howie, we're here to help. First thing you have to recognize is that greatness is more than a skill set. It's also a mindset. That is a key point. Greatness is a mindset as well as a skill set. So, of course, you have to be able to do certain things. You have to specialize. But there are lots of people that are very, very good at a particular endeavor, but they never achieve greatness. So what's the difference is that you've got to have that mindset. And that got me thinking to a gentleman that I used to work with in a company, and his name was Ulysses. And everybody goes up to everybody. We'd have these conventions. Ulysses was from a different part of the country. We'd meet in these conventions and, hey, how you doing? So on and so forth. And Ulysses had a unique response. And you knew it was coming, but it still always got you going. He was sort of one of those people that when you enter the room, some people brighten the room, some people brighten the room when they leave it, all right, or some people darken the room when they come in. Ulysses was one of those guys that just brightened the room whenever you saw him. So people would go up to him and say, "Ulysses, my man, how are you doing?" And his response was, "Better than good." Because that's not the expected response that you're ready to hear. He's better than good. And you say to yourself, all right, here's a positive guy. What I like to say when people ask me that question, and I don't use it all the time, but I like to use it a lot, is they go, "So Eli's dad, how's it going?" I'm living the dream. I'm living the dream. All right? That gets you going. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. And what is the key to living the dream or being better than good? The answer is measuring progress. Progress is the elixir of life. Let me give you a couple of examples. All right? The people that I know, I'm sure people that you know, go on a diet. They're looking to lose weight, and they're every day they're checking the scale to see how they're doing. Oh, I lost a half a pound, I lost a pound, whatever, I lost 2 pounds, whatever. These are not big numbers, but they're seeing themselves make progress. And when they're making that progress and you're talking to them, frequently the first thing out of their mouth when they start talking to you is about their losing weight, about their diet, about what they're eating, what they're not eating, about their discipline, about the fact that they fasted. And when you're measuring progress, that gives you a focus, and the focus is key. The same thing applies to, let's say, weightlifting. When I was a ball player back in the day, you needed to, before the season started, if you weren't in shape, those first practices were like torture. They were like torture anyway, but they would have been worse torture if you weren't in some kind of good physical condition. So there's two elements that during the off season that you would focus on. One is weightlifting, because you want to have your body strong, all right? And so when you're weightlifting, what do? Well, you're doing these things here. I don't even remember what you call them, all right? You're doing those lifts, and you're measuring those, and you do, like, you say, all right, I'm going to do 10 of those, or I'm going to do 15 of those. All right, now I'm going to add weight to it, and I'm going to do 10 more. And so You're measuring your progress. And then when you're done and you wiping off the sweat and getting ready, you feel good. You feel good. Why? You're making some progress. The key thing is to make some progress. The other part of being in shape as a basketball player, I mean, if you cannot run, you can't play basketball. There are so many people that Eli, that are very good half-court players, but then when you get into the full court, there's a little bit of a difference. Does that make some sense? So the ability to run, the ability to go, and you see this even in the NBA. You see these guys beat other guys down the court. I mean, even at the top level, being in shape, being able to run is key. So one of the things that we would do, that the coaches would tell us to do, is before you come into that first practice, make sure that you're able to do a 6-minute mile. We're not going to let you practice until you can do a 6-minute mile. So the first time you do it, you're doing like 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and then each day you're getting it smaller and smaller, and you're reducing your time, and you're getting to the point, and you keep track. You're measuring your progress, and that gives you inspiration. What you want to do is you want to become that guy from Star Trek. You remember, okay, there was, of course, the captain, but there was also Mr. Chekhov. You want to be Mr. Chekhov, and you want to identify clearly the boxes that you want to check off. So, and think of all the different entities that use that method that are successful. The one that comes to mind immediately to me, of course, is the United Fund. What do? They have a picture of a big torch, and they paint in, this is the goal at the top of the flame, is the goal of the amount of money, this number of millions of dollars that they want to raise. And as they reach each level, they color in the torch, and you see the torch going up, going up, going up, and it inspires people to do more. That is, the key thing. Let's take, in today's times, we've been going through this pandemic. What was the first thing that everybody was saying? What was the phrase? You don't hear it that much anymore, but like you couldn't turn around without hearing it, about a year ago. We need to flatten the curve. We need to flatten the curve. All right, so what were the boxes that we needed to check off? They're the same boxes we need to check off today. You need to wear a mask. You need to practice social distancing. You need to wash your hands. Those are the individual boxes. Now, sometimes progress is something that you can see, like when you're running a mile, you can see your time. Other times, you have to be a little bit more patient. That was the case with this pandemic. Now, how are we measuring? We're measuring by the number of vaccines that we're able to put into people's arms all the time. So, I mean, with progress is the inspiration for success. And the thing, once again, you have to remember that if you want to achieve greatness in whatever endeavor that you are pursuing, you need to have the skill set, okay? I mean, anybody can wear a mask, social distance, and wash hands, but you also have to have the mindset. How many times do we see on the news people in a supermarket, all together, nobody's wearing a mask, or people in super spreader events, and you say to yourself, come on, get smart. We want to cure this thing. We have to work together as a team. So, excuse me, our leaders need to inspire us, and we need to be inspired by the progress that we're making. Does that make some sense? So, how are we doing? If you want to achieve greatness, remember, you've got to identify certain boxes each and every day that you want to check off. You want to measure your progress. And when you're measuring your progress, that is the elixir that gets you from the treadmill to greatness. And because we're never going to end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.